Good evening and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. It's 9 p.m. What a day this has been for Mumbai. The worst was being predicted. Of course, you have to prepare for the worst. At the same time, you have to hope for the best. People looked heavenwards that let's hope that this cyclone Nisarga does not cross Mumbai in any possible way. Well, perhaps God heard those cries. The cyclone was off-center a little. It never moved on the designated trajectory or the trajectory that was thought that it will move in. It moved a little off, thus saving Mumbai the wrath. But Mumbai has been plain lucky. Can it continue to count its blessings the next time this happens? Because the way climate change works, and we'll explain to you in great detail through the course of these next 60 minutes, we cannot take this, we cannot be very comfortable with what has happened today. Let's quickly tell you what all we have on the show this evening. First of all, how did Mumbai escape the Nisarga wrath? NDTV has partnered with SkyMetWeather.com to explain how. It's very important to understand what happened that Mumbai is heaving a sigh of relief. So that's going to be story number one. Story number two, a lot of comparison is being drawn from cyclone Amphan. So let's get that comparison going. What happened in Amphan and what happened in Nisarga? Of course, these were two totally different cyclonic storms in terms of their severity. But you have to understand these cyclonic formations to prepare your cities in the future. Cyclone is over. That's story number three right here on this show. But the challenges remain, and we have one man who's leading by example. Sonu Sood is the Left, Right and Centre newsmaker. He's going to join us this evening. He's come to the rescue of all those people he had been rescuing all this while. He said the cyclonic storm only made matters worse for them, and he will continue to help these people as well. And story number four on this show, on this action-packed edition of Left, Right and Centre, we have two people who, what should I say, chronicled a disaster. These were the chronicles of a disaster foretold. Adam H. Sobel, he's an atmosphere scientist who wrote a piece in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy, and Amitabh Ghosh, when he wrote his book, The Great Derangement in 2016, spoke extensively to Adam Sobel. And they spoke about cyclones or tragedy hitting Mumbai. So all this will be part of this action-packed edition of Left, Right and Centre. But first I want to begin by going to my colleague Saurabh Gupta, who joins us from Mumbai. Saurabh, it's been a difficult day. You've been in various parts of the city. The cyclone is over. It's gone. The worst is behind us. I want to know your experience. What did you see? For a moment, did you think that a lot worse could have happened? A lot of damage could have happened?
Well, yes, for starters, the city had prepared for something that was going to be, on the lines of Cyclone Amphan, because the wind speeds that we were expecting, it was going to be around 110 gusting to 120. Thankfully, Mumbai did not have those wind speeds, because if those wind speeds had happened, then perhaps you would have seen Mumbai in some sort of trouble, given the fact that Mumbai has so many old buildings. Also, luckily for Mumbai, the cyclone drifted away further, earlier than what it was expected, and that slight change in trajectory made a whole lot of difference. And that is something that perhaps Mumbai can, thank for, because that is something that is also many describe as pure luck. But this is something that perhaps these cities now need to look at, because, the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal having cyclones within a week, and the frequency of cyclones is something that perhaps everybody needs to look at. And for a city like Mumbai, which with the COVID pandemic realized how stretched and how overburdened its healthcare system is, also with the cyclone realized that if we have the cyclones on the lines of Amphan in Mumbai, what can happen. But obviously today was a good day. They managed well and they delivered, and that's something that we have to thank the authorities for.
That's true, Saurabh. While authorities need to be thanked, but a lot of preparation needs to be done, and I can tell you that thank God it was off the mark, moved away from its trajectory, and thank God its intensity was low. This was not a super cyclone. Now, what if there were to be a super cyclone? Now, many people would say that this is a hypothetical situation. Well, later on in the show, we'll tell you that scientific research tells us that call this the effect of climate change. It is not hypothetical. It could happen very soon. So we have to prepare our cities. In this broadcast, we'll talk about that as well. But let me now quickly introduce our first guest this evening from Skymet Weather. I've got Jatin Singh. Jatin, good evening and welcome on Left, Right and Centre. Can we now safely assume, our correspondent has confirmed to us by speaking to authorities, that the worst is now over and that Mumbai was actually saved by a whisker, Jatin?
Absolutely, the worst is behind us. See, what happened was when we started off last night and say early morning, the expectations in all the weather models from all over the world was showing that the landfall was going to be somewhere here between, say, Alibag and Mumbai. Now, our estimates last evening was that it would be somewhere between Dahanu and Raigad, so somewhere between, say, here and here. And we were thinking, if you look at all the models before this, they were showing that the eye would be very close to Mumbai. That would have given it tremendous amount of destructive capacity. But what happened in the afternoon, say 12ish or so, or I would say late morning around 11:30 or so, we saw that the eye had formed, but it was much more south. It was about 100 kilometers south of Mumbai, and then it went straight into Raigad, even south of Alibag. Actually, Alibag is the area, but Harireshwar is where the landfall actually happened. And after that, it decayed rapidly and went this way. So it's about, it's at this location right now. It's going into interior Maharashtra, Madhya Maharashtra, Marathwada. Then it's going to go into south Itarsi and Harda and MP by tomorrow. So what it did was, in the process, it kind of completely bypassed Mumbai, and I have the data to show you that. So these are our automatic weather stations that are located in Mumbai, and if you see. If I was to show you the rainfall patterns over the last, let me show you last 6 hours, you see these yellow dots, and what you'll notice is that it kind of completely bypassed Mumbai, almost by a whisker, because had this been just across the creek from Vashi to downtown, you would have got some pretty decent, showers here or in central Mumbai and say Bandra and all these areas. But what it did was it went very fast, and this is the edge of it, and went straight into this direction. And that is why we were and that is why it came close, kind of close, but it did not go right in to Mumbai city.
True, Jatin. Do stay on with us, Jatin, now, because, I want to understand very importantly the similarities or the differences between Nisarga as well as Amphan, because Cyclone Amphan is also too recent in public memory, and we must always learn from our experiences post a cyclone. So let's understand these cyclones. So you've got Nisarga, which originated from the Arabian Sea, associated with the wind speeds in the range of 95 to 105 kilometers, less stronger than cyclones originating in the Bay of Bengal, because usually it is said, this is just wisdom, not documented anywhere, but generally this is what people see, that along the eastern side you have more severe cyclones. A category 2 on a 1 to 5 of strength of cyclones is what Nisarga actually is. Impacted the coastline of North Maharashtra and South Maharashtra. Now let's talk about Amphan. Its origin was the Bay of Bengal. It was classified as a super cyclone, a category 5 on a 1 to 5 of strength of cyclones, which means it was extremely severe. Then it was weakened to a category 4, which is extremely severe cyclonic storm. Even then, it was far more damaging than Cyclone Nisarga. Ahead of landfall, the wind speeds were in excess, and here lies the big difference, in excess of 180 kilometers per hour. In Kolkata itself, you had certain pockets where the wind speed was well above 100 kilometers per hour. Now, Jatin, how do you compare? I want to come back to you post this comparison. How do you compare these two cyclones? I mean, apart from what we've already shown, what do you think are the key differences?
You see, the first thing is that the frequency of cyclones in the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal has gone up. Last year there were 5 cyclones in the Bay of Bengal. That itself is a record. 2, we'll have to also see that the destructive capacity, and today we were lucky, but if you see what happened in Amphan, you had a super cyclone that actually hit the coast in Digha, which is about 100 kilometers away from Kolkata, but still it was still strong enough with winds of 120 kilometers to hit Kolkata and do tremendous amount of damage. We were somewhat, I mean, if I might say that there is a silver lining to this cloud, that we were in between the agricultural season, so you did not see too much crop damage, but there has been tremendous cost to life and property, and the fact is that the projections are that due to climate change, the frequency of cyclones is going to increase, and also what is important is India is a densely populated country. So, you know, it's not like the panhandle of Florida where you might, you know, if you leave Miami, there's not much for the Gulf of Mexico hurricanes to hit apart from oil infrastructure. Here there are millions and millions of people. Like, look at Mumbai, it's a city of 20 million right on the coast. So that's something, that's some kind of resilience we need to build for that, both financial and material.
All right, joining us right now is the Director General of the Indian Met Department, or the IMD, Mr. Mrityunjay Mahapatra. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahapatra, for joining us. I wanted to know from you this one simple question. Do you think that it has, this moving away of this cyclone has a lot to do with predicting the path of the cyclone right, and that the IMD was able to do in time?
As a cyclone forecaster, I feel very happy that we could monitor this cyclone from its pre-genesis stage, and we could provide the timely forecast. And I hope it has helped the people and the disaster management authorities to minimize the loss of life and property. I just want to inform through you that it was a history in India Meteorological Department. We for this cyclone Nisarga. As you know, this cyclone became a low pressure area. It originated from a low pressure area on 31st May morning. It became a depression on 1st June and deep depression on 2nd June morning. And in the afternoon of 2nd June became a cyclone storm. And today, 3rd June morning, it became a severe cyclone storm. And in the early afternoon, it crossed the coast. So hardly it had the life period of 2.5 days. So when low pressure was forming over southeast and adjoining areas of Kerala coast on 31st May, we could apprehend that it has got the potential to become a severe tropical cyclone, and it is going to have the landfall over Maharashtra and adjoining Gujarat, South Gujarat coast. So without delaying, we decided that we should issue a pre-cyclone watch. And that is usually issued from the depression stage, but we started for the first time in the low pressure stage. In the first genesis as a low pressure, we issued the pre-cyclone watch to Maharashtra and Gujarat government.
Correct.
And accordingly, the entire state and central machinery came together. Even there was high-level meeting by Honorable Home Minister and Cabinet Secretary DG was regularly there. And as a result, the action was taken immediately by the concerned agencies with the early warning provided about these cyclones. And as for our prediction, we continued to say that it is moving towards Maharashtra coast, and 2 days before we told that it will go just south of Alibag, and finally it went just south of Alibag. Yeah. We predicted the wind speed of 100 to 110 kilometers per hour,
that's exactly what it was.
120 kilometers per hour, and that's what it happened.
How accurately, and what is your assessment as to what is the reason behind this increase in cyclonic storms or cyclonic formations on both coasts? I mean, for instance, here in Mumbai, Mumbai has never seen a cyclone in almost 100 years, right? So what is your assessment and your study as to why the intensity has increased and the severity?
So I just want to inform that I am a expert member of the global community, an expert team of World Meteorological Organizations to analyze the impact of climate change on tropical cyclones in different ocean basins. We came up with a very good study. It has been published in Bulletins of American Meteorological Society. We consider two aspects. One is the detection and attribution, whether actually there is a change in the frequency and intensity of cyclones in different ocean basins, and if there is any change, whether it can be attributed to the climate change or global warming. In the next part, we consider what will be the prognosis, that means the projections considering the different scenarios of the climate change. I just want to inform that the trend in frequency and intensity of cyclones in the past 100 years has been different in different ocean basins. Now, if we consider our ocean basins, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, over the Arabian Sea, the frequency of intense cyclones are found to be increasing since 1990s. And in case of Bay of Bengal, there is no such increase in the frequency of the intense cyclones. Then we found out whether it could be attributed to climate change. We found that it could be attributed to the climate change, but with the low confidence. It is because we don't have sufficient data on the anthropogenic sources of various greenhouse gases and also its association with the intensity and the frequency of track. But nevertheless, the study is going on, and there is some kind of confidence that Arabian Sea tropical cyclones which are intense, their number is increasing, and it could be attributed with a low confidence.
All right, for a short discussion, I've got Mr. Arvind Sawant, Lok Sabha MP of the Shiv Sena with me, and Nawab Malik, Cabinet Minister in the Government of Maharashtra. Thank you so much to both you gentlemen. Nawab Malik, let me begin with you. You're a minister in the government. I'm sure you must be heaving a sigh of relief today that this cyclonic storm has not caused that much damage as was initially expected. But my point is, how much can we rely on just divine intervention or hope and pray that the damage is not caused? Because, you know, it's very clear, had this cyclone remained on its path or moved a little north towards Mumbai, it would have wreaked havoc. Don't you agree?
Definitely, what the prediction has been given in beginning, that it will hit Raigad somewhere and Mumbai will be affected. And it was changed, and a preparation has been made by the Mumbai city, and then before 3 hours, it is turned toward the south 50 kilometers. That's why definitely Mumbai has very low intensity of the cyclone, and definitely if it would have been hit by 120 kilometers per hour winds, definitely damage would have been more than that what is now today. But the entire disaster management team has been started. They had prepared to deal with the situation. People were evacuated from the low-lying areas, especially from the beaches or Pulipadas. More than 40,000 people has been shifted to a safer place by the disaster management of Mumbai city. And Raigad, Thane, Palghar, every district collector has been given order to prepare themselves. Even the center team has been arrived in the Mumbai and the various districts of the Maharashtra. Definitely we were prepared to deal with the situation, but we are thankful the situation.
No. My question was very different. I know that in this case, with wind speeds gushing at around 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, this is certainly not as severe as a cyclone Amphan. But my fear is that with this form of climate change, we've seen report after reports, you've got experts who say that, you know, this could soon become a new normal, cyclonic storms on this side of the coast. How do you prepare in terms of infrastructure a city like Mumbai? Imagine 160 kilometers per hour speed in a city like Mumbai. It would have wreaked havoc. As a coastal city, is it prepared?
I have to give an example. When earthquake has been there in the Gujarat. Then the design of the building has been changed, seismic design has been introduced in the Mumbai city, and high-rise building has been constructed. If such kind of is a situation is there, definitely we have to prepare ourselves. We have to think how to deal
Okay.
with this kind of a situation. And definitely, if it will be a continuous process that every year, in a 6 month, there will be a cyclonic situation in the Mumbai city. So we have to prepare ourselves
Okay.
in that manner.
Okay, okay. Arvind Sawant is also with us. Mr. Sawant, let me ask you this question. BMC is often accused of lack of preparedness, potholes whenever there is monsoon season, extensive rainfall. But I would say that still, if you compare Mumbai to other cities, it still does a better job in draining this water out. I mean, you would know more. You represent a key constituency. My point is now, do you think that this cyclonic formation, these warnings, this predictions that it is going to happen more frequently is a cause of huge worry, and it requires all minds to come together collectively and take a crucial decision on how you fix the city's infrastructure to deal with the cyclone as well? It's going to be a reality.
Sanketji, you are absolutely right. Now, since the climate change issue has been raised by Al Gore, from that time onwards, the Paris Agreement has made us to see that such unprecedented, unexpected attacks are bound to come over there. And never ever thought of the cyclonic conditions from Arabian Sea. It is the other way. We used to always have faced this on the Bay of Bengal, but this time it has come from Arabian Sea. Maybe it be 100 years after that. But the recent, for the last 10-15 years, the climate change is a very serious issue. And I feel my IMD now should concentrate on it dedicatedly. What exactly is happening now? As far as Mumbai city is concerned, the Honorable Minister has rightly pointed out, the government is going to take a serious note of it. The Mumbai city is densely populated, as well as it has got very high-rise towers are there. And therefore, both the ways we have to see. And the people who are staying at the coastline, and they are hutman dwellers, and at the same time there are towers too. So the hutman dwellers are really prone to all these calamities which they will have to face first. And that was I myself have been today to Kulaba and visited all those shanties. There is one colony known as Vita Nagar, situated exactly attached to the boundary wall of the Navy. And it is almost in the sea itself. I have to plead them, please leave the house and go to the safe place.
That's exactly the point that I'm making. As far as, see, I keep drawing this comparison with Odisha, Mr. Sawant. See, in 1999, you had a terrible, terrible super cyclone in Odisha that killed more than 10,000 people. But the state learnt its lessons. And subsequently, when a Phony happened, when Phylline happened, and all subsequent cyclones, you saw that the devastation, it's not like people did not die, but the mechanism was ready because the state decided that we can't lose people. We cannot. Do you think that time has now come for Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, Kerala, some sort of a coordination? Yeah.
Time has come to remain prepared for all the time. You can't expect what calamity will come at what time and when it will come. So you'll have to be prepared for all those things, and one has to. But one thing I will always request Sakriji, as far as Mumbai is concerned, kindly do not forget the small city with a small area, high population. It is inversely proportional. It is not directly proportional to the existing area. If you look at the land and the number of people who are staying on the same land, it is really, really horrible. Therefore, the matter is more serious for us. How to solve this issue, and government has to make a dedicated committee to look after all these unprecedented, unexpected calamities which may come at any time now. Here onwards, now the Arabian Sea has shown us, today the cyclone has shown us, one has to introspect. Luckily, there was no casualty today. Absolutely, I really thank God there was no casualty. Okay. The government still, within whatever the short they had, and municipal corporation, whatever the short they had done wonderful.
No, Yeah, my only point is, this is a time for a job to be done well, all agencies working in coordination. Let's just say that as of this moment, because of this cyclone, we could see some efficiency, but we have not been able to see exactly how efficient this system really was. 100% preparedness we'll only know had the cyclone been on track or had its severity been more. So can we be prepared for the future is a larger point of concern. But thank you so much, Mr. Nawab Malik as well as Arvind Sawant for joining us on this.
We are not like Japan. We are not like Japan where calamity always go, earthquake waves over. This is the first time we are facing all these things.
True.
But
And we need to learn quick. Just like the Japanese, we need to learn quick. Right. Nawab Malik as well as Arvind Sawant, many thanks for joining us. My next guest this evening, the DG or the Director General of the National Disaster Relief Force. He was on our show yesterday as well, Mr. Satyanarayan Pradhan. Mr. Pradhan, I have been saying this about you in May when we were discussing about Cyclone Amphan. This was my introduction about you yesterday also, and today again my introduction is going to remain the same. You have a job we all hope you never have to do, but here you are in the middle of things. First of all, I want to start by asking you, how much has been the assessment of the damage caused by Cyclone Nisarga?
Actually, the damage has been limited. Limited is the word to describe it, because we must remember that the cyclone was supposed to hit a swathe of the coastline, which was several kilometers in terms of at least maybe a couple of 100 kilometers. But the impact resultant has been mostly in one district, which is Raigad, and the adjoining districts of Sindhudurg, Ratnagiri and Palghar. But majorly Raigad, and that too some of the talukas of Raigad. So in a way, we have been fortunate, and I think the focus of the cyclone was very, very pinpoint almost into the Raigad. It almost drilled into Raigad, and the speed of that drilling was fortunately again not 180 or 170 or 160 even. It was 110 to 130. 130 was in fact impactful also, but then it did the damage that was expected in terms of uprooting of trees, telephone lines, power lines, etc. But overall, I think it's a negotiable situation which we should be able to bring back to normalcy within a few days, if not about maybe a week or 10 days. But overall, I think we would take this as, if before the cyclone we were told that this is what is going to be the result, we would take this any day.
That's right. Mr. Pradhan, you talk about uprooting of trees, snapping of the telephone lines. This was predicted also. It was, it's very easy for the IMD to be able to predict and then for you to be able to act accordingly. I asked this question of the DG of IMD on the importance of accuracy of their prediction. You were telling us how it is very, very crucial for you to do your job if that prediction is right. Now we see that the cyclone moved a little southwards. Do you think that the prediction was spot on for you to be able to perform your job well today and subsequently tomorrow?
Yeah, once again, I'd say we'll take this any day. This kind of accuracy, which gives an error of maybe even up to 50 kilometers, absolutely acceptable. I think it would be called accurate in every terms and every perspective. And again, IMD has got it dead right, I would say. And we were all spread out according to the IMD predictions along the coast. And even if another 50 kilometers it would have been off, we would have been fine with it. And we factor that in as part of the requirement. So that was never a problem. And I think the accuracy of the IMD is an asset.
All right, Mr. Satya Pradhan, thank you so much for joining us right here on NDTV. We're going to stop for a short break at this moment. When we come back, I can promise you this will be an interesting discussion, because here are these two people who in a way have chronicled or have actually written about what Mumbai faced today a long time ago. We call it Chronicles of a Disaster Foretold. They could foresee what is going to happen in Mumbai. On the basis of research, what do they think is the reality? And can we just restrict this to writing, fiction, or any other form? Or do we need to take this very seriously and prepare? The question that I asked of my political guests. We are going to be joined in by Adam H. Sobel. He's the atmospheric scientist and professor at Columbia University. It was his write-up which inspired Amitav Ghosh to write the very famous book, The Great Derangement, in 2016. A special discussion up ahead.